guys, so today I am going to be doing a little tag video for you, and it's going to be the social media book tag, which you may have seen floating around the internet. As I'm sure you're all aware, we, my generation, have the good fortune, or bad fortune, depending on how you look at it, of being the social media generation. I was the perfect age for pretty much every social media website. I think the only one I missed was MySpace. I was a bit young for that. I must have been like 11, but I was there in full force for Bebo, and I was around for the start of Facebook and the death of Bebo as well. And I'm still a Facebook person now. I've got Twitter, Instagram, you know, all the social media. I don't know who first started this tag. I haven't been able to find an original, but I saw it done by Christina Horner, and she didn't tag me, but you know what? I'm gonna pretend she did, because it's gonna make me feel important and make it less sad that I'm doing this without being tagged. The first social media website is Twitter, and for this category you're meant to name your favourite short book that's under 200 pages. I'm gonna admit I don't read a lot of short books. I like a good lengthy read, and I definitely don't read any novellas, so I can't use any of those. So I'm going back to a lot of my middle grade books here, and the one I'm going to say is Things I Know About Love by Kate Levat. This book is your typical teenage love story. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, and it's just great. It's a really, really cute, happy, feel-good read, kind of. I think it's worth the read. I read it when I was younger, and then I bought it a couple of years ago, and I think it still stands the test of time. The next category is Facebook, and it's a book that you were pressured to read. I didn't get a lot of pressure to read books because I don't know a lot of people who read a lot, but I did have a friend who told me I had to read How I Live Now by Meg Rossoff. She said it's her favourite book, and all her other favourite books were favourites of mine too, so I thought I have to give this a try. And I'm sorry, but I didn't like it. I didn't. I don't know why everyone loves it so much. I felt like maybe I read it at the wrong point in my life, or I was too old, but I really didn't enjoy it. I found the fantasy elements were too unreal, and it was like this book was split in two between this realistic possible happening and this weird magic-y type stuff. If you've read it, you'll know what I mean by that. I also felt, there's a spoiler here, so skip maybe like 5-10 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear this, but the whole incest thing, am I the only one with a problem with that? Okay, yeah, that pressure to read this. Facebook, I guess this represents Facebook. Some people don't like it. The next category is Tumblr, and this is a book you read before it was cool. Now this one is kind of a cheat for me because the book I'm gonna name is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I think this book was cool even before it was written. Like, there was so much hype about it that it's hard to read this book before it's cool. But I did pre-order it, and I did get a signed first edition, and I took a day off college, shh, don't tell them about that, to read this book when it first came out. So I'm going to class this as a book I read before it's cool, especially because now it's mainstream, so I'm going to class this as a book I read before it was well and truly out of the YouTube world cool. The next category is MySpace, which is a book you read when you were younger and loved, but probably wouldn't still enjoy now. And my choice was Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. Now, as you can tell, this is probably the most battered book I actually own. I adored this book. This was my favourite book. I must have read it when I was 11 or 12. And I even auditioned to be the main part in the film when they had open auditions in London. But the problem is, the last time I read this, I think I was 13. And since then I've read a couple of her other books. They were just too young for me. So I'm kind of terrified to read this again in case I don't like it, because I loved it so much when I was younger. So I might not like this, but I'm hoping I still do. The next category is Instagram, which is a book that you think has the most beautiful cover in existence. And the book I chose for this is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This is a really embarrassing confession. You know from my previous videos I have a thing about book covers. I saw this book in Waterstones. I didn't even read the synopsis, and I bought it because I fell in love. It is the most beautiful cover, and I don't care if you dispute that. It is. The feather is gorgeous, the matte background with all this like, the colours, they just fade in, like they're a gradient of colours. I'm such a nerd, why am I doing this on camera? And then the spine with all this pretty white writing and these gold feathers, and then on the back it just has this beautiful cover, and it says love makes us such fools. I mean, even when you take the dust cover off, it's still a really nice simple cover with the gorgeous spine again. So yes, still haven't read this book, don't know what it's about, but I am so glad I own it. Next is YouTube, which is a book you want to be made into a film. There are lots and lots of books I want to be made into film, mainly most of Tamora Pierce's novels. I would love any of those made into film, but I am going to branch out and choose The Name of a Star by Maureen Johnson. I think this would make a fantastic film. I think There is just a little bit of everything in it. It's action, it's adventure, it's fantasy, it's romance, it's YA, you know, it's a bit of everything. So I'm just going to pray that one day this will be made into a film, because all of John Green's are, so it's Maureen Johnson's turn next. And the final category is Goodreads, which is a book that you recommend to everyone. I recommend a lot of books to people, but I've learnt what kind of books I should recommend to what people, so I tend to tailor my recommendations to the person who I'm recommending to. However, there is one book that I recommend to everyone, and it's a huge cliche, and that is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. I think one of the reasons I recommend this to people is because if they haven't read the book yet, now, it tends to be they've seen the film and didn't like the film, so think the book's not as good. And it's just not the case. The book is so much better than the film, and you may not think you want to read it, but if you've not read it yet, I can't recommend it enough. You have to, especially before Mockingjay comes out. So that's the social media book tag. That's all 7 books, 6 books. My counting sucks. That's embarrassing. I am going to tag Emmy Reads and Maureen Keevy. It's your turn, because I know neither of you have done it yet. I'm also tagging anyone else who wants to do this. I know, as a new booktuber, you don't get tagged and stuff a lot, and it's kind of depressing because you want to do it. But I'm tagging you. Any of you who want to do this, do it, and you can say I tagged you because it's true. So that's pretty much it for today. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Bye!